Hello, welcome to Supernatural on the Rocks. I am Emily.
And I'm Mandy.
And welcome back to the Winchesters Weekly. This is season 1, episode 10, Suspicious Minds. Very clearly an Elvis reference.
Yes, I was going to say, I Googled the song. I didn't actually listen to it yet. But I'm not a big Elvis fan, so I didn't catch that until I looked it up.
You haven't watched the new Elvis movie?
I haven't.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. You haven't want to spend 3.5 hours listening to Austin Butler's new accent?
Amazingly, I have not wanted to do that.
It's a shame. My my only bit of trivia about that movie is that the vocal and accent coach who worked with him on his Elvis accent is the person who worked with us on our movie,
Huh.
the last movie that I worked on in my former life.
Huh. That's
So
cool.
when I saw his name pop up around Elvis, I was like, oh, him. All right, I know that guy. So that's my only bit of Elvis trivia on this Supernatural podcast.
We are all educated now.
Yep.
Actually, I'm educated because I know what movie it was. All the listeners just get to be real curious.
So this is the Winchesters. The rundown of this episode is, while Carlos talks through a problem in his personal life, it gives Latika a new idea about how to find the Akrida Queen. Millie's new security system for the clubhouse proves helpful when Mary and John find an unexpected guest inside. Once again, this episode recap really burying the lead on the true A-plot of the episode.
Yeah.
An unexpected guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, unexpected. Not really a guest.
Yeah.
None of those things are true. So what did you think of the Winchesters here?
I liked this episode. I'm very curious about where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Last week and this week are the first times I've been really excited to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Excited as in hey, I want to know what's happening, which makes me sad that we don't get full season runs anymore. I mean, on most shows, I'm a fan of the tightness of a 13 episode season, but since Monster of the Week are so iconic and just fun supernatural, staples,
Mm-hmm.
I wish we'd gotten more of those.
Yes, I would love to
as they're hitting their stride with building the story and getting into the characters.
It would be nice to see them just fighting something silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
You do get a lot of character development in Monster of the Week episodes too, when there's nothing I guess I'm thinking equally about the X-Files and the way they kind of popularized the season arc plus the Monster of the Week. When there's nothing big they're fighting, you get some lighthearted bonding moments.
Yes, when the stakes are low, the character development is high.
And I definitely would have enjoyed the combination of characters they could have done, a John and Lotta episode.
Yes, that would be
bonding
fun.
between two of them that don't have main storylines together.
Mm-hmm. And it's not dependent on them solving something critical.
But yeah, so good episode. I really enjoyed it, but it is making me think. Now that I'm into it, I wish they could slow down a little bit.
Right, because we got a little bonding of Carlos and Lotta when they are out kind of by the side of the road talking about Carlos's relationship with Anton.
Yeah.
But it's while they're on their way to do something critical, and their conversation just feeds the plot point progression.
Yeah.
Instead of being kind of like a Scully Mulder conversation in the basement office at the FBI for the sake of the conversation.
And that's really what I crave in most shows.
Yeah.
Make me like the characters hanging out together.
Yes. Make me like them. Make me want to see gift sets of them over and over and over on screen without being worried about what's going to happen to them in the next scene.
Yep.
And we got, John and Mary had a little moment where she has a letter from, they said KSU. I am assuming that is Kansas State University.
I would imagine.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have a deep knowledge of the universities of the country, but I'm going to go ahead and say that was Kansas State University and that she has gotten into college.
That seems like a safe bet with the assumption. And yeah, college.
Is this going to be another broken dream?
I'm suspecting so.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
I want to know what she wants to study.
Yeah. She says in the episode she doesn't know yet, but like that's a whole I don't know. That's
What's
going to be a
she?
whole bittersweet arc if she actually does start or go for a while
Yeah.
and then has to stop.
What's she into? Is it literature? Is it applied mathematics? Is it
Hmm.
um, the beginning? Have we begun computer science yet, or no? 1970. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would
We
think
got some
so.
computer science in 1972, right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe she's at the cusp of the computer science revolution. Um,
Working on
maybe,
those kinds of computers that take up an entire room.
yes, my dad absolutely helped install one of those at his one of his workplaces. I've got
No.
photos. They're hilarious. Sideburns for everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna be sad if we don't follow her college progression of it,
Yeah.
because that's like a real world story intermixed with it's the parallel is Sam going off to school
Yeah.
and how that gets cut short. And the
Um,
fandom trope of he goes to law school and every fic of him as an adult in the AU is Sam's a lawyer.
oh, I purposely avoid fic with Sam in it. Sorry.
You see the character tag and you're like, exit out. Goodbye.
So I do have to say, because she applied to college, I was again very curious about how old she's supposed to be. Like, granted, she hasn't done the normal trajectory. She was a hunter, so that doesn't mean
Right.
much. But I did come across the fact that in Supernatural, she is 29 years old when she's killed by Azazel. So,
Okay. So, and Dean is 4,
yeah.
right? Hmm.
So she would have been 25. I mean, they may rewrite canon totally. But yeah, that would have made her 25
Okay.
when she gets killed. Like,
Sure. And to be fair, we no longer know what timeline we're in now that Dean has gone back and is messing with
that's true.
things. So we don't know if we are in a circular um time travel loop or if we are now in
Yeah.
alternative time travel
Um,
business.
and I did find Nerdist has an article that refers to her as 19 in the Winchesters.
Okay.
Which in which case applying to college and the fact that like Dean being born would be like 6 years away makes a little more sense. But
All right.
yeah, I know this is probably doesn't matter to anyone else, but it's constantly bugging me. Is she a teenager or is she like 24?
Yeah. I mean, we did ask this question
Yeah.
several episodes back of how old is John Winchester?
Yeah.
We need to know. And frankly, Jensen Ackles has not responded to our inquiry.
Extremely rude of him. We are in
I
a fight, Jensen Ackles.
I
How
think,
old is
granted, neither of us have gone to a convention to ask him, so maybe
yeah.
that's on us, but I just don't have the fortitude for that.
How old is John Winchester in season 1? Okay, so it says in 1983 he would have been 29.
No. Oh, in 1980.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I heard the number and I saw 1972 in my mind and I was like, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
19 what did I say it was? 83.
83. You know I
So
do
that he would have
math.
been born in 54, which I think is the conclusion we came to earlier.
Yes.
Which would make him 18 in this show in season 1.
Then I still don't know how he went. Well, no, we do know that he went to Viet. Or
Yeah.
yeah,
But he
we
was
know
engaged beforehand. Was he engaged at 16?
he might have been. People make dumb decisions,
That's true. That's true. They do.
and he went. He lied about his age to go to war.
Hmm.
But even still, how long was he gone? And
Yeah.
okay, Mr. Ackles, I need a
This is
timeline.
this is our own personal time loop. It's just finding out how old he was.
You know how some people get bothered by like when hair length changes, like in The Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz and Dorothy's hair changes. This kind of stuff bothers me. Like you didn't.
It very much bothers me. I
I
just want to know. I
I
want
just
like a concrete answer.
yeah. Is it that vital to the story? Absolutely
No.
not. It's just aggravating.
And like you said, the story has even left themselves loopholes. Like
Yeah.
just because they were a certain age in like season 1 does not mean they have to be that age now.
No. No. Because if Dean is coming is going back in time,
Yeah.
is this the type of time travel that creates alternative timelines there where you veer off the original timeline and now anything goes? Maybe Mary now no longer dies. Who knows? What if
That would
Sam is
be
never born
what
and there's no
are
Azazel? Like,
what are they gonna do? Like, how would Dean and Sam be if they didn't have, vaguely abusive, psychologically damaging single father John
right.
raising them?
So they, I mean, jumping kind of deep into the episode, it's basically near the end after all of this stuff goes down with, I mean, the main character. I hate to like jump all the way to the end,
Mhm.
but um, John and Mary have like a conversation about love and how it affects you and how it can be selfish and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, we're not going to be that way.
No.
We're not going to let it. Love is they're kind of the bad guys of the episode. What they had wasn't love; it was selfishness, and that's never going to be us. Like, yeah,
It's not gonna be one of you.
it's not going to be one of you. And it's just like that deep irony. But maybe in this new timeline, she's correct.
Yeah.
Is Jensen just utterly rewriting the story, or is the Winchesters just feeding us this idea that things can be changed, but really it can't, and that we're all just going to end up
Yeah.
right back where Supernatural started because fate is the only ending, and that free will is nonsense? What's
I
the
I
answer, Jensen?
I hope there is a bigger tie-in like that. That would be very satisfying.
Yeah, the Supernatural cinematic universe,
Yeah.
the only cinematic universe that I'm going to care about.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
So many questions, which I'm glad that I have questions about this show because
Mhm.
it makes me want to keep watching it. And the fact that there has been no announcement about a renewal is
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's very frustrating because I am getting to the point where I'm like, I will be sad if this gets canceled because they've set up some appealing mysteries.
Unless it gets canceled and goes to HBO,
That would be very interesting.
because Dark Winchester sounds appealing too.
Yes. Oh, they could do so much with that.
And fight scenes getting bloodier, things happening. I could be very into that. There was all that talk
Yeah.
about HBO Supernatural, so we could get into that. I'd be fine. So as much as I want it to be renewed on the CW, the freedom of uh, a network like HBO could
Yeah.
be enticing. So, for the episode itself here, I kind of liked the cold open with
Mhm.
the two women, the kind of the bait and switch of the women. There's a woman by her broke down
Yeah.
car, and the other woman pulling up to help and um, asking for a ride and all that, and the one woman just bashes the other woman's head in with a
Yeah.
crowbar.
And kind of not the one you'd expect
Exactly.
because the other one's all, I can fix your car.
I can
And
fix
like,
your car.
she refers to her husband as the Julia Child.
Which let's know more about their lives.
Yeah.
They seem like they could be cute side characters. But this woman also has Akrida marks on her neck, even though it is 1957. What is this, about 15 years before
Yeah.
current, quote unquote, current day,
Mhm.
um, giving us a reminder that the Akrida have been in Lawrence for quite some time.
Yeah. That surprised me.
hmm
Just like how far back it went.
Yeah. I do wonder if it goes back even farther, but this is setting us up for our mystery man who arrives at the clubhouse after Millie sets up an alarm system, which there wasn't one before.
I feel like that was an oversight.
Yeah,
Probably should have had one before.
yeah, um, yeah. So they had all this warding except for the one tunnel, but there was no alarm system to let people know when people were going in and out.
Yeah.
Troubling. Naturally, this alarm system goes off like 15 minutes after Millie puts it in. Couldn't even wait like a day. It's a little rude, but there is one Porter J. Hobbs, Men of Letters, who has
Yep.
infiltrated the clubhouse and has set up like a little tea time and alphabetized all the books. It was very nice of him. He had a key,
Yeah.
but did you think that he looked like Richard Gere?
So I was immediately just very excited at who the actor was. So I didn't have a moment of that.
Ah,
I was just like, holy shit, it's Mr. Sheffield from The Nanny.
yes, you are correct.
So yeah. My other thought after listening to him talk for a few minutes, first of all, I was like, did they really make him do a British accent? Because he's not British.
Yes.
No, no, wait, he is British.
Hmm.
Sorry. It's the other accent that I was like, oh, are they really making him do, which is getting a little bit ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the one that actually is British. Niles
Mhm.
from The Nanny was not.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
he had a southern accent. But yeah, I was like, I'm getting very Giles from Buffy vibes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Did you get bad vibes from him immediately,
I
or
got
were
over
you?
the top vibes.
Uh huh.
Like I got this story he's telling is not the truth vibes. I think I didn't want him to be bad, but I was like, this is a lie on some level.
Hmm. Yeah. He. I mean, it was weird. One that he had a key that.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously because he was in fact Men of Letters, but he had like
Yeah.
a really great story all prepped and ready to go, um, about how he was recruited and brought in to do experiments on the bites of monsters. And he was, well, he said he was the one to turn um, creatures into watchdogs to guard the Men of Letters locations, which did answer a question we had had a number of episodes
Yeah.
back about, like, why the fuck is a werewolf guarding a Men of
Yeah.
Letters location? Like, how, what, who, why? So I guess they've been experimenting on monsters, which is a little fucked up,
Yeah, that was a little fucked up, yeah.
and maybe raise some alarm bells like, oh, these Men of Letters
Yeah.
are potentially super
Mhm.
gross if
Not
they are
yeah.
running Dr. Frankenstein level
Yeah.
experiments on living creatures.
Just a few ethical issues there.
Yes. And we've, especially in our supernatural episodes, we've discussed, like, is it monster or is it man? Like, the
Mhm.
creatures are not always evil.
Yeah. I
You,
mean, sometimes they're just existing.
sometimes they're just out there living lives. But he, Porter J. Hobbs, I think his name was a red flag for me.
It is, yeah.
Porter J. Hobbs. He kind of monologues to John and Mary that the um, Akrida were there during his time, but the Men of Letters had somehow pushed them back into their world. But some had remained in Lawrence, which I guess is a hellmouth.
I mean, it must be.
It has to be because what's there?
Yeah.
Including the Queen, and he has just been biding his time doing research on how to defeat them. Uh, and I guess it's just like waited until today to show up and help.
Which
Yeah.
is questionable itself too. Like,
Hmm.
couldn't have booked that plane ticket a little sooner.
No, he's just waited until John and
Yeah.
Mary were alone in the clubhouse, which he specifically says. Like, and after all this time, you think John and Mary's like warning radar would go off a little sooner?
You would think they would have some of those like skills a little more honed now that just like natural sense of something's not right.
Hmm.
Of
Well, maybe
course, if they are 18 and 19, maybe they can be forgiven.
their prefrontal cortex is still working on
Yeah.
the danger signals. So Hobbes has said that he can make some sort of neurotoxin that will defeat Queen, but he needs Akrita stingers. And he needs the muscle of hunters to get him
Yep.
a human who is currently under Akrita control.
So basically, he just sends them on an errand for him to
Yes.
capture.
And they're like, sure, we
Yeah.
don't know you, but sure. Guys, come on, ask more questions. You're just gonna let this guy roam around the clubhouse after he just broke in, and you haven't called anybody to be like, who is this?
I feel like they should run everything by Millie first.
Yeah,
I know technically she's not the hunter and she wasn't involved with Men of Letters, but she seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. She
she's
didn't want to electrocute John to death. You know, she generally is like, hey, this seems dangerous when something seems dangerous.
yeah.
Besides the weird flirtation with her potential in law,
God, no.
yeah, they should just run things by her first. Or at least Carlos and Lotta.
Yeah, like group think. Get a
Yeah.
little. pass the idea around, see what percolates, see if any red flags go up, a little warning sign maybe. But no, they're just like, stranger, let's go out and get Officer Jones, who's just out there living his Akrida life, and bring him back to the lab. And I feel kind of bad for the human inside of Officer Jones
Yeah.
because he
He
he can't
didn't
do
ask
anything.
for anything. Yeah.
He didn't ask to be accreted, and he
Nope.
also did not ask to be a victim of a experiment by a crazy person. And uh, Porter J. Hobbs is super excited to finish the work and take
Mhm.
back all that they took from me. And somehow this is what gets John and Mary to be like, interesting. So they start doing a little research into this man and find out that he is actually one Jack Wilcox, a much less interesting name,
Yeah.
who was kicked out of the Men of Letters. And this is when they get poisoned and knocked out. So they kind of had that coming for their lack of preparedness.
Yeah.
They really dropped the ball on this one. There were just a lot of warning signs leading up to this.
There were a few red flags
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they completely ignored.
And I just, I love these two crazy kids, but
Mhm.
mm, come on. This is where they really needed an adult in the room. So
Yeah.
Jack Wilcox, formerly known as Porter J. Hobbs, is now no longer British. He has a hilarious Southern accent. Could use some work on that one.
Yes. That one's not good.
Is not good.
That's
If
when
you
I was like, wait, are they really making him do that?
sure are. Mary is prepped for surgery because Jack has his comatose wife on a slab
Yeah.
who's been like this since an Akrita attacked her, we're assuming like 15 years ago now.
Yeah, which also just seems weird.
He's just been keeping her body on
He's been
ice.
keeping her, yeah.
Well, the things we do for love, right?
Yeah, well, maybe love. That's a
Maybe
whole conversation they have.
is this love?
Yeah.
Um, Jack's plan is to transfer Dorothea's his wife's consciousness into Mary's young healthy body, and then Jack is going to put his consciousness into John's body because now it's a sci-fi show.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very like Stargate, very Star
Yeah.
Trek,
Mhm.
not very supernatural.
Mm-mm.
Like, again, that's something that if were possible, you'd think would have shown up before.
Yes. And
This is the problem with this being a sequel to a show that was on for 15 years. They
right.
can't. I mean, they have to come up with new things, but also like, would we have not seen something like that at some point?
And like surely he was going to use he had to use some sort of spell, right? There was not going to be a
Yeah.
medical
No, there's
uh
no way.
no. Okay, yeah. I was thinking like how is he planning on doing this? And he was also planning on having John and Mary's consciousnesses riding around in the bodies with him.
Yeah.
But yes, and he has this crazy line of like, there's no world worth saving without her in it.
Mhm.
And we've heard um, lines like this in media before of,
Yeah.
why save the world if my one true love isn't in it?
Which honestly, that's such a you problem, dude.
That is a you problem.
Let's think on a bigger scale.
Because he says he will help them defeat the Krita, but his wife first. I do we think he would have helped save the world and defeat the Akrita once he accomplished his plan?
I feel like no.
I think he would have just taken the bodies and run.
Just a hunch. He would have
Yeah.
been like, "Holy shit, I'm 19 and or 24 again. Time to go have fun."
Uh-huh. Yeah. What a crazy plan. And like, what is Dorothea gonna wake up in a body that's not hers and not flip the fuck out?
Yeah. Oh,
15 years into the future and just being like, what is going on?
I'd be so pissed.
Like, you did what now?
Could
You
not.
you killed who? To do what? And then what? And then she leaves you and now you're stuck in a body that's not yours and you've killed people and now the person that you did this for has left you because you're insane. Was it worth it, Jack? This is how supervillains are born.
Yeah.
And in a totally under and undeveloped plot point, he also has a golem.
Yeah, that's also strange.
a golem feels like a whole episode that would have been like a
Yeah,
monster of the, not to call a golem a monster because like there's a whole religious aspect to it, but like a a golem could have been its whole episode.
it could have been. And if we had a full season, like a
Yeah.
full, even like 18 or 19 episode, that would have been kind of fun.
Yeah. Because I guess he needed something to keep John Winchester busy, but why didn't he just tie him up better? I mean, John was like,
Yeah.
I'd like to give credit to the actor here because I think he's getting better throughout the episodes because he was super cute in this fight. Like, he was kind
Yeah.
of funny and he had a lot of good reaction shots during it. Um, but why? Like, what did the Jack Wilcox had like a very Dr. Frankenstein situation happening, but it was a lot into one character.
It was. I
And
feel like that at least maybe like that deserved to be spread out over a couple of episodes.
mhm,
Let a
yes.
couple of things develop, not at such a like breakneck speed.
Yes, I agree. This could have been a fun 2 or 3 episode arc
Yeah.
of them working with him, thinking he's legit,
Yeah. Especially
and
if it seemed like they were getting a really good like mentor for their
mm,
situation. Because,
yes.
her dad took the fuck off and Millie's amazing, but she wasn't part of it.
Right.
Having
Mhm.
like an adult figure who was with the men of letters
Yeah,
could have been really cool.
that could have been very cool, and,
Mhm.
you get the heartbreak of them when he does reveal that he's banana nuts.
Yeah.
That would have been a fun
Yep.
rather than it's just 5 minutes later where you're like, "Oh, actually, he's not a good
Also
person."
the fact that he knew John's dad, the whole "you're just like your dad" thing.
Yeah, let's draw that out. Let's
Yeah,
find a little more about John's dad.
would have been good. Lost potential there.
Yes.
The episode wasn't bad, but like that could have been really good.
Yeah, it was like a good episode, but it could have been
Mm.
a really great couple of episodes to draw that out. Because the Glee problem is here too. Of wow, that's a lot in one episode. You could really spread that out and give us some time on it. Just let that marinate a little bit, so the feelings that come up are deeper. So maybe if you could just go back and redo
Yeah,
that, that would be great. Because a golem is like a whole ass episode on its own.
maybe at some point they'll come back and revisit that, and we'll get a
Mhm.
Gollum episode.
Now, Jack being crushed by his own golem was funny because you've got
Yes.
like a nice poetic getting
Yeah.
crushed by your own hubris and your own
Yeah.
monstrosity. Amazing. Great. I got the metaphor perfect. And it was funny. And this they I'm assuming so they at the end of this, Mary and John are standing over a grave, and I'm guessing the bones that they salted and burned were all of them.
Mhm.
They didn't really. That's another one of the issues with the show is they move pretty fast, and they didn't really explain the salt, the berry. What's the order? Salt, burn, berry.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's the whole kit and caboodle here of what they did. But this is where they kind of talk about that Jack gave up. He says he gave up everything so that he wouldn't lose Dorothea. But Mary counters that it wasn't love, it
Yeah.
was selfishness. And you're like, guess what John's going to do in 7 years? Maybe? Something
Yeah.
like that? Sorry about this ironic sadness here. This was ironic, right? This was irony?
I think so, yeah.
This scene, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We went to school. We know what irony is.
Absolutely. We've listened to Alanis Morissette. We know what it's not.
We do know what it's not, and therefore we know what it is.
Exactly. That's how that works.
That's what an educational system gets you in the United States. I don't know what it is, but I know what it's not. So that was kind of I consider that the A plot. And so Dean's voiceover is pretty close to the beginning. Says hunting and happy endings don't usually miss, and you have to ask yourself, how far will I go to get it? Is Dean gonna end up talking about himself here? Like, how far is he going to get a happy ending? And is his happy
Yeah.
ending Castiel?
It better be.
Is he rewriting
Better
the
be.
fucking fabric of the universe to get his angel?
I mean, God, how amazing would that be if this just turned out to be the Destiel show? Like,
I
it's a
mean,
very far-reaching wish, but, like, if he was doing time fuckery, then we could have Cass as Cass.
I hate to put on a clown mask, but like, what else is he doing?
Yeah, this is true.
What else is the point of the show other than How I Met Your Mom and Dad? Like, we know how they met. What else is the point of $1 million show than the Destiel love story? So this is what we stay up at night thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And then we go to AO3 and we
And
think
we
about it some more, but in fic form.
and then it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you have to go to work soon.
Yeah. Being an adult is hard.
It sucks. And then you have to feed yourself every day. Terrible.
Oh, that's the worst.
And you have to do that until you die.
And if you don't do it, you literally will die.
It just gets
Spend too
worse.
much money on Uber Eats.
Sushi. Actually, that sounds really good. So our B plot here is that Carlos and Lada are out looking for ways to defeat the Akrida, as they tend to do.
Yep.
But poor Carlos is distracted because he cannot stop thinking about Anton.
And he's kind of bad with guys.
He seems to be really bad with
So
guys.
he can't stop thinking about him, so he decides he needs to break up with him.
Yeah, his reasoning was
Not-
terrible.
Yeah. Carlos, buddy. You
Yeah.
okay?
And I think he was trying to reach for kind of a similar life is bad for hunters, so I don't want to get into something that I'll eventually have to get out of
Mm-hmm.
reasoning, but like, dude,
Yeah.
it's been like a week, 2 weeks. You don't need to have the let's break up because my life is dangerous for you conversation yet.
Yeah.
And if anyone tries to hurt Anton because of Carlos, we're coming for you.
Oh my God, yes.
Carlos or Anton and his ugly sideburns do not need that.
No, not allowed.
This is an anti-sideburn podcast, just so you know.
Sideburns are awful.
They're hideous. I know they were big in the 70s, but that doesn't mean they weren't bad. So shave them off if you have them. Stop it. So they're out. I kind of just look like they're driving around. I'm not sure that they have a destination in mind yet, but Carlos's pining does give Latika a eureka moment of wanting to get someone who was freed from the Akrida to see if they still have the memories from their time while they were under the Akrida spell. Which brings us to our long lost Rock and Roxy. I did not expect to see her again.
I didn't. Yeah, I think I saw her name on the IMDb when I looked it up last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little spoiled for that. I was
Yeah.
just trying to find out what the name of the episode was, but yeah, I like that she came back.
I did too.
I always kind of like the acknowledgement of the human behind the, possession of whatever form it takes.
Yeah, and that the people involved in these monster stories don't just go away.
Yeah.
Like, she experienced a trauma and she has to now deal with the consequences, even if the hunters have moved on to the next thing. So she, and again, Carlos is the one who talks to her, and they're kind of explaining that her nightmares are not visions, they are real memories. And she agrees to help them try and track down the Akrida Queen and like the location where all this shit is going down.
Mhm.
And in return, Lada promises to help her forget everything because Latika has been mind melding with Tony.
Again, they
Ada's
are very liberal with their suddenly this character can have this skill.
Yes, she has been like seeing the Ada's half Jin son in her dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been like, I don't want to say dream walking because I don't think that's what they're doing, but he has been teaching her kind of different meditative skills and like ways to access people's memories and then erase them, which is, I guess, super convenient for this
You
episode.
can just like Men in Black it whenever they need.
Yeah. And maybe this is how they don't leave a trail of people who know absolutely everything about hunting.
Yeah.
I guess. I would like to know more about how Lada and Tony have just been hanging out in Dreamland together.
Also, that's a premise for some fic scenarios that I'm sure someone is already writing.
Oh, absolutely. And if it's not, you should get on that. Mm-hmm. So poor Roxy kind of has to go through this process of reliving the Akrida taking over her body, which I'm sure sucks. But she tells them that the queen is underground. And they somehow manage to find the location based on Roxy's memories.
Yeah, that
Um,
seemed easy, but
yeah. I just have to assume they drove around for a while that we didn't see.
yeah.
Or no, I guess they used a map, maybe? I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, those exist.
Who knows? They Googled it. They Google mapped it. So, and Roxy also opts to keep her memories of the Akrida, um, because, you know,
Yeah,
hopefully she also will be a lasting part of the show because she's cool.
she is cool.
And
I would
she
be happy. Yeah.
and she adds to the queer count of the
Yes.
show because she mentioned she had a girlfriend.
I love that casual that situation where it doesn't have to be like the token character,
Mhm.
just more casual queerness.
Just out there living life and not getting offed in the only episode that they're in.
Yeah,
So good for you, Roxy.
very good. That was a
Um,
close one, but you made
it
it.
was a close one, but whew, you made it. So they, Carlos and Lada opt to go track down the abandoned construction site by themselves. Like, why is nobody calling backup? These do not feel like situations where you go as two people when you have four available to you.
I guess one reason is they literally can't call back up.
Why don't they use their iPhones to text for
Yes.
backup?
I guess in their defense, it would actually be much less convenient if you don't know where someone's at. You don't have a way to reach them.
Yeah, I just feel
But
like
still,
they could be using walkie-talkies.
yes. I mean, surely there's some kind of magical communicate with each other device.
Yeah, if they if,
Like,
if the one guy was going to put his consciousness into the body of someone else,
yeah, then they can do a
can't they have
walkie-talkie still.
can't they have like little uh boxes that they can talk into where they're like tin cans that just go over long distances? Surely they're going to find that in the Men of Letters bunker somewhere.
Yeah,
Little
totally.
communicators that would be funny, and I'm sure we would hate it at the same time. Like, what a stupid thing.
Yeah.
Um, but they confirm that it's the right location because they see the woman from the lab who was collecting up all the monster essence. I'm glad they pointed out that that's who that was because I had forgotten.
Oh yeah, I had no idea.
I was like, thank you for identifying her. I did not remember her. At some point in this episode, we had also seen a group of Akrita, including Dickbag Kyle,
Yep.
who had gathered together to discuss the hunter problem. And they have yet another photo of Dean Winchester getting out of the Impala in the 70s, and the Akrida Queen would like to eliminate him.
Yep. So we're definitely getting some like full-on Jensen, right? Like,
I'm hoping. They also say that he's the reason that Mary's group got together.
yeah, that
I
seems
was,
foreshadowing too.
yeah, like how far back in time did this bitch go?
Jensen's just like however far it takes.
I went all the way back to creation and I
Yeah.
made Castiel. I needed him to be there. So now Dean is on the hit list, even though he's not supposed to be born. And it's supposed to be Sam on the hit list, but not the Akrita hit list, the Azazel. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what this
That's
show
all
is
very
doing.
confusing.
I almost feel bad for someone trying to watch this, but then it's like, you opted into this.
Yeah.
You did make this choice with us.
I mean, I
Um,
would love to hear the thoughts of someone who didn't watch Supernatural and is watching this. Like, how much translates?
yeah, that would be very interesting because you wouldn't have any. I mean, I'm assuming that you would recognize Jensen as Dean, right? Like, maybe
I know,
not.
surely. But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe there are people who are watching the Supernatural who have no concept of Supernatural.
Like if any of the actors have a big enough fan base from other projects, I could see that happening.
Is is anyone coming from the boys to watch the Winchesters?
That would be some culture shock for them.
But but there are no dicks on screen.
Yeah,
I know. I'm sorry. What else would anyone be coming from? The rest of the actors are so young.
yeah, they are.
Hmm.
Speaking of the actors, are we never getting Ada back? Is she just gone now?
I don't know, but I don't appreciate this shit.
I don't either. I loved Ada.
Just get random mentions of her and
Yeah.
Samuel out doing their thing. Like,
Are
where?
they
Doing what?
Yeah,
Not.
I was gonna say, are they gonna come back and be like, Mary, meet your new stepmom?
I guess they're the right age, though.
Yeah, I think they would be
If Ada's got a grown ass son.
probably less awkward than Millie and Samuel.
Yes, that would. Yes, Jensen, please don't. Yeah, I mean, she better come back because she is the most powerful of
Yes.
them. And I
They could
hope.
really be using her help right now. Also, she probably would have been like, "What the fuck? Don't let that dude in here."
Right. Unless, is she just going around the country gathering demons into plants?
Come back with her whole garden. Maybe she was just tired of hanging out with teenagers.
That could be. Cleaning up messes. I mean, couldn't Ada just fix the box?
You would think.
Did she even try? Or was Millie like, no, I got it. I'm a mechanic. She's too powerful. That's why she had to go.
Yeah. I mean, I do actually think that might have been it.
Yeah.
The writers were like, wait,
Hold on.
we can't make this too easy. And we made a very capable character here.
Mm-hmm. They gave her too much XP.
Yeah, they had to nerf her a little.
She's rolling 20s and she's gotta go. Yeah. That's unfortunate, but I do hope she comes back.
So oh yeah, Kyle.
Fucking Kyle.
Fucking Kyle. He's, taken
Yeah.
care of now.
Well, I mean, he is, but he has caused a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
He has shown up at the Winchester garage in order to frame John for his murder. Yep. And he's gone so far as to write journal entries about, like, John being an angry, jealous asshole who is mad at him for going on a date with Mary.
Yeah, I mean, he really framed him. He really set it up.
He went hard. And he like called the cops ahead of time so that they would show up not only right as he stabbed himself, but also as Millie opened the garage door.
Yeah.
So there's just a whole tableau of John holding the dying Kyle as his mother gazes upon him and the cops show up.
So yeah, and that is what the episode ends on. So we're gonna have a fun next week of figuring out if he's gonna go to, prison, jail.
It's good that Lotta has just now figured out how to erase memories from people.
Oh, that is okay. That's very convenient. I wonder if she'll forget by next week.
She'll have erased her own memories.
Yeah. Convenient.
It's too bad we don't have Ada here to overpower the cops.
Or bail him out.
Because, like, who's going to miss Kyle? Is Kyle even a real person? I guess he is.
Betty's going to miss him.
Fucking Betty.
Yep.
I mean, I'm glad that the side characters are actually causing issues.
Yeah.
So that there are real world consequences happening. But then it's also like this asshole.
Yeah, I did not like him.
Nope.
I wasn't sad to see him die. But you are right. It is good that they're actually now Betty better have more to do too.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't want her to die, but I would like her to have, more to do.
Yes, there are stakes here because it is that Kyle was being controlled by the Akrida. It's not that there was a sad little boy out there who was so jealous.
So
by one date.
Do we think the whole reason he went on the date with Betty is because he was controlled by the Akrida? Or, I mean, not Betty.
I think so.
Mary. Like, that was a whole setup from the start?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think he was, yes.
I can buy that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was all a setup. Which, like, I'm sorry. But, yeah, it sucks for Mary, but, it's not like she went back for a second one.
Yeah. She didn't seem too super...
No.
Into it.
No, she was not too cut up about it. It was a filled up episode.
Yeah.
I think, as we said, it could have stretched across. You could have had it
would have been good multi-part episode.
Yeah, I think you could have had the Rock and Roxy and the Kyle shit and all that, and then stretched what's his bucket across a couple episodes to do that.
Mr. Sheffield.
Porter J. Wilcox, Jack J. Hobbs, whatever we want to call him, because now he's just dead, and now John's not going to know what he knew about his father, and he can't import, any more information about the men of letters, except that they have been around and that they apparently fought the Akrida before and won. One-ish. So maybe there will be more information hidden in the ever-expanding archives. So I guess they better get reading.
Yeah, they gotta start pulling some textbooks out.
Some all-nighters.
Doing some homework.
Yeah. I
think that's about all I have for this episode.
Yeah, there was some trivia on one of the fandom pages that in another Supernatural episode, it was said that the men of letters were wiped out by Abaddon.
Huh.
But then Sam was told that Abaddon was just a hired gun. So it might be that the Akrida were the ones to hire Abaddon. That could be some retconning.
Yeah.
To include the Akrida, but I guess we'll just...
That could kind of work.
Yeah, well, we'll see how this all rides out.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let that slide for now and see how it rolls. But yeah, that is Suspicious Minds. I feel like maybe there could have been more Suspicious Minds in this episode.
Yeah, they weren't suspicious enough.
They were not.
They were decidedly lacking on suspicion in their minds.
They were lacking in Suspicious Minds. I mean, maybe the song choice here is about the lyrics in Suspicious Minds, but the title could have used some, I don't know.
Yeah, could use a little work.
Let's stop letting people into the men of letters without asking them for ID.
Yeah, just card them at the door.
Check badge numbers.
Check their bags for any almost deceased wives.
Yeah. Yeah, where was he keeping her? How did he
see? Yeah, exactly.
Was she in the morgue the whole time and they just never opened the drawer?
Do a quick room check. Oh, that's creepy.
Where was he keeping her? Wouldn't that have been weird if she had just been in the bunker the whole time and they just never checked?
It's giving very Yanto from Torchwood keeping Lisa in the bunker.
Gross.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
We're coming up on Valentine's Day, and I don't know much. I don't do that, but I can offer advice to anyone listening, and that is don't keep people on ice.
No. It is not a romantic gesture.
It's not.
You may think it is, but it is not.
No, it's never romantic.
No.
Bringing sewing different body parts together to bring your loved ones back, not it. It's not good.
Chocolates exist and they're good. Just stick with the classics.
Yeah, flowers.
Don't attempt to reincarnate them.
Reincarnation, killing someone to give your loved one a second chance, not good. No. It's not it. So I think that's what we can offer you at the end of this episode is worldly advice.
Some sage advice from us to you.
From us to you, from our hearts to yours as Valentine's Day approaches is just let it go. Yeah. That's not what you need to be doing. And maybe don't follow Jensen Ackles on this one.
Yeah, no.
Just let it slide. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah,
I think there's another break coming up. Oh, it's actually after this one. We've got the next episode isn't until the 21st. So we got a little time until we come to our next run, our final run of episodes here. So be interesting to see how these last episodes play out and how we get John out of jail here.
And exactly when Jensen shows up in more than just photograph form.
Yes. One of the upcoming episode is The Tears of a Clown, and that feels pointed towards the fandom, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
We know we're clowns. So you don't have to you don't have to say it to us. We're aware. So thank you for listening to this episode. Appreciate it as always. You can find us on line at Supernatural on the Rocks And if you want to support the pod, you can do that at patreon.com/gleeontherocks to find all sorts of bonus content about us and fandom topics ranging from this to that.
Yep. A little bit of everything over there.
A little bit of everything to keep you busy. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Supernatural on the Rocks, a podcast by OTR Productions. A huge thank you to our sound editor, Adriana, and our podcasts, who secretly run the show. For more episodes, download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and more at SPN on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/gleeontherocks. Subscribers get ad-free episodes, exclusive mini-episodes deep diving into the fandom, salty opinions, and more. So until next time, this has been The Road That Was.